Find your way here.
Find your way here.
Find your way here.
To a community of people guided by the wisdom of a goddess and the spirit of a warrior.
At UNC Greensboro,
we transform lives every day.
Every day. On campus, in our hometown, our home state,
and around the world.
Start with excellence.
Find your passion, your purpose, your inspiration here.
Through research and teaching, scholarship and service.
Competing for championships and seizing our moments.
We welcome every Spartan, just as they are, just as we are.
Just as I am.
I am.
I am.
We start with excellence.
And after graduation,
we excel, we achieve, we make an impact.
Find your wow, your breakthrough, your aha moment, your pride, your story here.
By being true to our core, we have earned the right to say,
we are the best at what we do.
We are.
We are.
We are UNC Greensboro.
A national leader in a thriving city.
Right here in the heart of North Carolina.
Find your way.
Find your way.
Find your way here.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us. My name is Angie Moore. I am an assistant director working with adult, transfer, and military affiliated students here at UNC Greensboro. Joining me this evening are my colleagues. We work with everything transfer related. The intent of this program is to help prospective students who are interested in transferring to UNC Greensboro get a little bit of more information and maybe some questions answered. So before I begin, I'm going to go over a few items to note. For those of you interested in getting your application fee waived, there is going to be a form made available for you during this program. After 6 p.m., that's when the form is going to be made available. You can go to the bottom of your events page, which you are currently viewing us on, and click on the form that's on the click on the link to the form that's on the bottom of the page. Again, that won't be until 6 p.m. It'll be made available for the duration of this program. The waivers are available for new transfer students who have not attended UNC Greensboro before, and those who have not used a waiver before as well. So if you are a returning student or you've used a waiver before, you are not eligible. So just keep that in mind. After the main portion of the program, there will be special interest sessions. So if you're looking to touch base with one of our 6 schools and colleges, we will have Zoom sessions that will begin at 6:30 p.m. And you can access those sessions by clicking on the link that is again on the events website, which is the page that you should be viewing this live stream currently. So having said that, I will go over this program, what to expect. So you're going to hear from Andre Hill, who is here with me in admissions. We also have Matt Abbott from our registrar's office. He's going to talk about transfer credit. Roberta McDevitt from financial aid. She is the money lady. And then our favorite faculty speaker, Jeff Colbert, is going to close out the program with us as well. I'm going to be here in the background answering questions that you text in. That number is listed on our website, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. It is 336-892-8051. So I will be here answering all your questions. We will have some time at the end of the main session to answer some of the questions that are more geared towards the general population. But those that ask specific questions, feel free to text those in. We will get those answers for you as well. So with all that being said, I am going to turn off my microphone and turn off my video and hand it over to Andre to begin the program.
Angie, thank you so much. I appreciate you. As stated, my name is Andre Hill. I'm the Associate Director for Transfer Recruitment. So this event is super special to me. I'm super excited to be able to share with you all tonight to talk about the university, the admit process, and all the pieces that come along with it. So in famous lad's words, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to mute myself. Well, at least my video. So let's talk about transfer students. Let's talk about UNCG and why we feel like UNCG might be the right place for you. These are some of the accolades that we're going to share with you guys tonight to talk about this university, this special place that we're a part of. So let's jump into it. First, we're going to talk about our community here on campus. Right now, we are a campus of almost 20,000 students, and we are super excited that you are going to be a part of that team. Last year's class was almost 1,800 transfer students from around the state and around the country that joined this campus. And in our transfer class, almost 50 states represented, almost 70 different countries. We know that as a part of a transfer class that you're going to be able to find space, you're going to be able to find community, you're going to find other students who are in situations that are similar to yours. And we want to find ways for you to be able to make those connections. We're also thinking about the connections you're going to make inside the classroom. Our average size class is around 25 students. So we know that as you're making connections with our professors, with your faculty, with your staff, that you're going to find those opportunities to get with them and for them to be able to share with you the things that are going to be important to your academic experience, to think about the internships, to think about research opportunities and things that you may not find the opportunity to discuss with faculty on larger campuses. So we feel really proud to have the staff that we do and the size campus that we are, and that students are going to be able to make those intimate connections that we know that are important to you. For many of you, you may be transferring from a community college, whether here in North Carolina or other places. You may be also thinking about transferring from another four-year school. So some of these opportunities may look similar to things that you've seen before. So the number of programs that we have for students to study, that's a pretty big number for the size campus that we are. So we know that students, as they're thinking about their majors or looking for opportunities, that they're going to be plenty for you to choose from. The number of our clubs and student organizations, pretty large for the size campus that we are. So when you're thinking about things to get involved with outside of the classroom, whether it be club sports or religious groups or community service, there's going to be student groups that are going to support that. And also student groups that are focused on our transfer students so that you can find other students who are having a very similar experience to your own. The number of courses that we offer may be a little bit different from where you've gone previously. So we know that we are focused on the end goal, that you're trying to get towards graduation, and we don't want to have anything to be an obstacle to that. So offering as many courses as we can, also offering as many online courses and online programs as we can, will make those opportunities available. And then these last 3 points, the Honors College, our internship, and undergraduate research are some other opportunities that we make available for all of our students, but also available to our transfers. I think in some campuses and other places that transfers can be an afterthought. And we certainly don't want that to be the case for our campus. We know that you guys have great experience, you bring lots of value, you bring lots of your personality and all the other bits and pieces that you are to this campus. And we want to make sure to recognize those opportunities are for you as well. This entire campus belongs to you. So all these opportunities should be available for you as well. I've talked a lot about the opportunities that are here, and it's not just a matter of offering them. It's really a matter that we are committed to you being successful, and we've tried to provide the offices and the resources that are going to help with that. So let me go through a couple of these points. Our Student Success Center is really an office that is built around its name, that we are wanting our students to be successful and dedicating the time and the space to make that happen. Tutoring, workshops, support, those pieces are going to be there for you, and it's already covered under your tuition. It's not any extra money out of your pocket. This is really just raising your hand to say, I need a little help. I want to do the best that I can while I'm here, and we've got the offices to make that happen. We're also thinking about you leaving this campus in the best possible way, which is going to be through graduation. And for any of us, when we're finishing our college career, we all have our mind towards what am I going to do next? And that decision and that discussion shouldn't happen in your last semester or the last few months of being here. It really should be a conversation that starts when you arrive. What is it that I'm hoping to get out of my degree? What is it I'm planning to do with it? And what can I do during my college experience that's going to prepare me for that? And that's where our career and professional development office will come into play. So it used to be in the olden days that you would go and see career services right before you graduated and dust off your resume, get a little bit of interview skills, and off you went, and best of luck to you. We are really now thinking about you arriving on our campus and immediately connecting with this office to say, I have a goal in mind. I have something that I want to accomplish, and I want to take advantage of every opportunity while I'm here. So resume building, resume writing, interview skills, all that stuff is there. But let's also look at what internships, what research can I do? What other pieces can I develop while I'm here on campus that are going to make me the next best, that's going to make me the strongest candidate for graduate school, that first job, that first career. The Speaking Center and the Writing Center are two sides of one coin, where we are trying to get students to develop these skills that are going to be so important to any job that you're going to go into when you graduate. So as you're doing your speech for your communications course or getting ready for your final presentation to finish your degree in your department, these skills are going to be important to be able to share what you know and be able to do so in a confident way. And whether or not you do it verbally or you're going to be doing it in a written manner, it's important to be able to have those skills. And we've got the office space dedicated to do that. Some of us, as we've learned through the pandemic, you're going to need some other additional computer skills. And, you know, we've all learned how to use Microsoft Teams and Zoom and all these other things that are out there to help us be more productive and also socially distant. Our computer labs will help with that. And you've got spaces on campus where you can go and learn. And finally here, FYE 101 is our first year experience course. It's built and developed to introduce you to all of these resources and more as you're going through your first year at UNCG. So you may have attended another school and had great success there, but this is going to be your first time attending this campus. So take a course that's going to introduce you to all of these success points, be able to take advantage of them all and have the best possible experience that you can. And with anything that is continuing, there's always going to be new things that are happening. Here you have a rendering of our brand new School of Nursing that just opened up this spring semester. They've got great new working space in there, some new lab space available for our nurses, and some other common course space for all of our classes. So you may, even as a non-nursing student, find that a course or two may be offered in this space. Most of our services have moved to be online, that you can pay your bill, you can look up your courses, you can register for classes, all that stuff is easy. Online course offerings, we're offering more online courses right now than we have ever before, and a whole set of fully online degree programs are available as well. So you can see the list here in front of you. One of the newest ones that has been added is an RN to BSN program, where you can participate and finish your bachelor's degree in nursing fully online if you already have an associate's degree in nursing and your active nursing license. So I know our School of Nursing is super excited about it. We're excited to be able to share it with you all tonight. So if you fall into that category, you'll want to get your application in starting for fall of 21. That is when the first cohort is going to open. So with all the things that we've shared, and obviously your interest for being here tonight, let's talk about the nuts and bolts of the application process. What do I need to do? What are they going to be on the lookout for? The application is available via Spartan Link. So if you signed up for this event, you've already gotten a Spartan Link account, and you may already have your application in progress, and that is great news for us. Your application fee waiver is going to be applied after you participate in this event tonight, and you'll have an opportunity to do your survey in just a little while. And then we need any and all college transcripts. So any place that you've gone, 2-year, 4-year, in-state, out-of-state. If you had early college or dual enrollment credit from high school, if you've earned some college credit there, we need a transcript so we can use it as a part of the application process, including any military transcripts. So that will also include the Community College of the Air Force, if applicable, and then also your Joint Services transcript, which will often cover your job training and your entry courses as you were coming in. Transfer students on the average are going to have at least 24 transferable credit hours. Let me rephrase that. The basic requirement to be a transfer is 24 transferable credit hours. Minimum GPA is a 2.0, but the average is just slightly above a 3. So we've got a pretty wide band of students who are going to fall into that mix. The ultimate goal that our transfer team is going to look at is whether or not we believe you've set yourself up for success at UNCG in the long run. So we will look at GPA. We're going to look at your most recent academic trend. We're going to look at your courses overall that you've completed. But if we have the belief that you're going to come to UNCG and have a better chance than not to be successful, then you are very likely looking at an admit letter, an offer of admission from the university that's going to be coming your way. There are a couple of special categories that you want to be aware of. We had already talked a little bit about the RN to BSN program. That is a special category along with the Associate of Applied Science degrees for students who may qualify under our 2+ program. You may have heard about 2+2s that are being offered at some schools around the nation. We can't always guarantee that you're going to do 2 years at your community college and 2 years with us. So we dropped the second 2 in favor of just going with 2+. You've got 2 years under your belt, and we're going to help you to finish out that degree as long as you go into a related degree program on this campus. So nursing is the best example. Business is another pretty good one. If you have a degree in that area from under an Associate of Applied Science degree, we will do our best to recognize that degree as long as you go into something related on our campus. So all of my contact information is there. If this applies to you, this special category for an Associate of Applied Science or associate's degree in nursing, please use one of these methods to reach out to me, and I will be happy to speak with you and tell you more. For our second degree candidates, if you've already earned a bachelor's degree somewhere else and you're looking to make a change, you want to go in a different career direction or you want to prepare for graduate school, I'm certainly happy to talk to you, but it doesn't just have to be me. I got 2 teammates who will be happy to chat with you as well. So feel free to reach out to me, but certainly any of our transfer team will be able to help you if you're looking to do a change after finishing that first degree. So we're moving through this pretty swiftly, and I know that for many of our transfer students, you have a lot of specific questions to your situation. What if I don't quite have 24 hours? What about my GPA? Or what if I want to talk to a counselor and get with them and ask more questions? We've got plenty of opportunities and plenty of ways for you to be able to connect with us. So we have our text line listed here on the screen. You can text us throughout the week, and we will respond during our normal business hours and answer your questions or get you connected with the counselor. You've got the general email address. You can certainly check in, check on your status, follow up with us. We'll be happy to connect with you that way. You can also check your SparkLink account to see what's going on in your application, if everything has arrived or if we're waiting on additional items. And there's also the opportunity to connect with us with a one-on-one video call. It can be very helpful in some cases for our transfers to have a transcript that you can potentially share with us, or to be able to see each other face to face and talk through your specific and particular situation. Visit the UNCG website, look under Find Your Counselor, and then you will find a space there to talk to any of the transfer counselors. We have 3 nights a week and 3 days a week covered, where you can reach out to one of us, set up a one-on-one visit, and we'd be more than happy to be able to talk with you about your situation, answer any questions that you may have, and get everything that you need going forward. All right. Making a couple of adjustments on my side, please bear with. All right. Certainly, we also want to talk about your fee waiver tonight. We know that that is a big reason why many of you attended the event, and we are certainly happy that you're here to get all the info. Waivers are applied for all brand new transfer students. So if you've been to UNCG before as a degree-seeking student and are here, we're glad you're getting all the info, but unfortunately, the fee waiver won't be applied for you. Also, if you've used a fee waiver before, it's a one-and-done thing. You want to get that application in, but you're also going to be on the hook for paying the application fee. Fee waivers are going to be done automatically. So your portion is going to be completing the survey, which we'll give you more info on in a little bit. And as long as we get that waiver, as long as you get your portion done as far as completing the survey, tell us about the event. Tell us what we can improve, how we can make it better. And then we will use that information to declare the fee waivers in a couple of days. Won't be immediate, but give us 2 or 3 days. We'll get them all added. But the most important piece here at the very bottom, do not pay that fee. Once it's paid, I don't have a way to get a refund to you, but you'll be able to indicate that your fee is going to be coming in later. So you can say check, money order, good to go. As long as you submit, don't pay, the fee waiver will be applied. And that will be all that you'll have to do. Couple of tips to help things along for you. Applications are reviewed on a rolling basis. What does that mean? It means that as applications come in, we make them complete, we get the decisions made, and we get them rolling out the door back to you as soon as possible. There's not going to be any sort of holding pattern or process. If your application is here, I'm reviewing it, Melissa's reviewing it, Andrew's reviewing it, we make a decision, back out the door it goes, so that way you have plenty of time to make your plans for the upcoming term. Our application deadlines are here. March 1 was the priority deadline. That is not the final deadline. Final deadline for this upcoming year is going to be August 1. Don't wait till August 1, though. You want to have time to apply for housing, apply for financial aid, meet with your academic advisor. So the sooner you apply, the better for you, the more time you have to get everything arranged. We also have our summer deadlines. We do have a summer 1 and a summer 2 session. So you can apply for whichever term makes the most sense for you. And then again, fall, August 1, you have time for that. Documents have to be official. They have to be sent directly from the school. They can be mailed into these to our campus, and your registrar's office on your campus should already have that information. We also have our email address listed here where they can send it to admissions@uncg.edu, and that will be considered as an official transcript as well. So once everything comes in, your fee waiver gets applied, your application comes in, your transcripts and everything arrive, everything gets put together in one space, and then it goes on to a counselor who's going to review it and make the decision. So we talked earlier about the admissions requirements. If everything looks well there, we will make the decision usually within 4 to 6 weeks. Our goal and our hope is for it to be much, much sooner than that. But we can't make a decision till your application comes in and all of the documents arrive. So don't delay. Do what you can to get everything moving, and certainly be in contact with us. Check your SparkLink account to make sure that everything is on its way. All right, I've covered everything that I can for you. We're going to turn things over to Matt, who's going to tell you guys about transfer credit, and then you will have a chance to talk with me and the rest of the admissions team in a little bit if you have more questions. So Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Andre. So like you said, I'm Matt Abbott. I work in the registrar's office with Transfer Articulation Services. We deal with all of your transfer credit coming in. It's me and 2 others, Stephanie Job and Dina Paul. So we handle all transfer credit coming in. Go to the next slide. All right, criteria. We have to have a grade of C or better in any of the courses you've taken to transfer to UNCG. If you get a C- or below, we can't take it, unfortunately. That's the same for 1 credit hour, 3 credit hour, 4 credit hour courses, doesn't matter, has to be a C or above. 2-year institutions, not all courses are going to transfer. There are certain courses that we just unfortunately don't take. Most of these are going to be, unless you're in the 2+ program like Andre was describing, most of these are going to be your more technical courses. So welding and EMT, stuff like that, unfortunately, we're not going to take in from a 2-year institution. Also from 2-year institutions, we can only take up to 64 credits. So if you went to 2 community colleges, 1 in-state and 1 out-of-state, we'll take all of those credits in, but then we'll reduce those hours down to 64. So you'll still get credit per se for all of them, because all of the gen eds that might be carried along with them, you're still going to receive credit for. You're just not going to receive the hours for it. 4-year institutions are a lot easier than 2-year institutions. The majority of courses from 4-year institutions are going to transfer. In fact, I can't think of any off the top of my head that won't transfer. So next slide, please. All right, tests. It's a super useful tool if you're coming in from really any school. So as the website says, transfer.uncg.edu/tests. This is a website that lists all of the schools that are accredited and what we have built in the system for them. So if you took Math 112 at one school, and that's college algebra, you can go on tests and figure out what Math 112 is going to transfer into at UNCG. It's super easy to navigate. Just click on the arrow to view the details of the course once you're there, and it will pull up general education requirements and all of those things that are fulfilled. And as the first bullet point says, if a course is not listed, that does not mean it's not going to transfer. It just probably means we have not reviewed it before. So don't freak out. Feel free to send us an email and we'll review that course for you. Next slide, please. All right, sending transcripts. All transcripts should be sent to undergrad admissions at that email that Andre previously mentioned, the admissions@uncg.edu. Final transcripts, you want to make sure that all grades and or degrees are awarded. So if you're currently taking classes, make sure that all of those classes for the spring 2021 semester are on your transcript. Easiest way to do that is check your own official transcript or call the registrar's office or the office that deals with transcripts at your current institution and just double check to make sure all of those courses are on there. AP and IB scores, we need an official score report. We cannot use the high school transcript. So for AP, that's going to come from College Board. IB is going to come from International Baccalaureate itself. Next slide, please. All right, updates. The official review of your transcript will happen after you are admitted. So once you're admitted to UNCG, we'll start working on your credit right away to try to give you as quick of an answer as possible, and so you can see the bigger picture and everything that's going to transfer in. Once your transfer credit is reviewed, you will get an email saying that your UNCG articulation is completed. Once you receive that email, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or email us directly. Next slide, please. Oh, all right, cool. So I'm going to hand it over to Roberta, who is going to talk to y'all about financial aid. So, get that money.
Thanks, Matt. Hello, everyone. I'm Roberta McDevitt. I'm the Assistant Director for Counseling Services in the Financial Aid Office, Financial Aid, here at UNC Greensboro. I oversee the frontline counseling staff. So my staff is the group that will answer the phone when you phone in, that will meet with you if you schedule an appointment, and also assist if you have any questions via email. Next slide, please. So the big question that we get in the financial aid office from transfer students is, how do I apply for financial aid? How is it different at UNC Greensboro from the schools that I've attended? And the application process is pretty much the same. The first thing that you're going to do is file the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. The FAFSA is required for all types of federal aid, as well as state and our institutional financial aid. You file that online at FAFSA.gov. You do have to file a FAFSA every year. So right now we are in the 2020-21 academic year. And so that's the FAFSA that we're currently using. The 2021-22 FAFSA is the FAFSA that will begin starting with the fall semester. So it's important, if you haven't filed the 21-22 FAFSA, that you get that completed. If you have filed the FAFSA and you haven't included our school code, you would want to go into the FAFSA and make a correction and add the UNCG school code. Our code is listed on the slide at 002976. Once that school code is added, that will allow UNC Greensboro to receive that FAFSA information, and then we can work on the awarding process. Next slide, please. So some tips about filing the FAFSA. At UNC Greensboro, our priority filing date is January 15th. Now you may say that date is passed. Does that mean I'm not going to get a financial aid award? That does not mean that. That just means that the date for filing for some of our limited institutional resources has passed. We will still award students even if you file the FAFSA today or tomorrow or in May. But in order to get your financial aid in a timely way, it's important to get that done as soon as possible. You do not have to be admitted to complete the FAFSA or to add the UNCG school code to your FAFSA. So the sooner you can do that once you are admitted, and Andre mentioned the time that it might take for them to review your transcripts and get you admitted. Once that happens, if you've added our school code to your FAFSA, we can then put together a financial aid award for you. It's important when you file the FAFSA, if you haven't done it already, but to use the IRS data retrieval tool, which is an import of your tax information right into your FAFSA. What happens when you do that is it eliminates the chance that you might get selected in a review process called verification. And it's like an audit where we have to collect additional documentation. So using the data retrieval reduces the chance that you might have to submit those documents. Next slide, please. So this slide shows our 21-22 tuition and fees. For those of you who might be transferring from a private school, the fees might look a little bit less. For those of you transferring from a community college or another four-year institution, they're about the same. You'll see the difference between in-state and out-of-state. The important thing to note, and it's down in red underneath the in-state tuition, says that you must update your residency status via RDS or ncresidency.org. The university doesn't determine your residency status. And if you've been attending another school within the state, the fact that you're transferring to UNC Greensboro negates that first residency determination that you completed. You do have to do a new one. So oftentimes we hear from transfer students or even some of our new students, when they see their financial aid award or their bill, they're being charged as an out-of-state student. And you can see the difference is a little bit, there's a difference in in-state and out-of-state. So it's important to do the ncresidency.org, complete that process again, so that we can award you financial aid appropriately, as well as charge you appropriately when that time comes. Next slide, please. So cost of attendance. You saw on the previous slide that the tuition and fees, and for students who are living on campus, housing and meals. There are also things that we include when we're putting together your financial aid award, and those are what we call indirect or non-billed costs. Those are things like books and supplies, the cost of travel, so if you're commuting, getting to and from school, as well as personal miscellaneous expenses. Next slide, please. So in talking about books, that's one of the other questions that we often get about how are things different at UNC Greensboro when it comes to purchasing books. You don't have to buy books at UNC Greensboro. You can purchase them from any of the vendors that are out there. However, the university does provide an option for you to purchase books in our university bookstore using your financial aid. And the way that you do that is to purchase something called Bookstore Bucks. Bookstore Bucks is an account on your Spartan card, and Spartan card is your student ID. Bookstore Bucks are available during the fall, spring, and summer semesters, and students can purchase up to $750 in Bookstore Bucks per semester to use in the UNC Greensboro bookstore. When you purchase Bookstore Bucks, those bucks are charged to your student account. Even if you're not using financial aid, they can be charged to your account, but you do have to pay them off to the cashier's office before registering for the next term. The important thing to know is that you do have to be registered for classes, and you have to request the Bookstore Bucks 24 hours before you would order books online through the university bookstore. One of the other bookstore options that is new for the spring semester, and we don't have a slide, but I'll mention it here, is that there are some courses that utilize something called first day books. And those courses, when you register for them, will indicate, and you'll have the option to opt in to have those books automatically added to your student account when your financial aid would come in to help pay that, just like it does your tuition and fees. Next slide, please. So what are the types of financial aid that we're going to look to add to your financial aid award? We're going to look at gift aid, and that's the money that everybody wants, the free money. And that's in the form of scholarships and grants, both at the federal, state, and institutional level. We're also going to include in your financial aid offer self-help aid. And self-help would include student loans, as well as employment or work study. And here's another question that we often get in the financial aid office, and that's about work study. UNC Greensboro, of our 20,000 students, we have enough work study funds, federal work study funds, to employ about 300 students on campus. Now, that's not to say that if you don't have work study as part of your financial aid award, that you can't work on campus. The Career Services Center, Student Employment Office, does have jobs that do not require federal work study as part of your financial aid. So if you don't see it included in your financial aid award, you can certainly look for those other on-campus jobs that might not require federal work study. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about UNCGenie. As a UNC Greensboro applicant, you've been using Spartan Link. But once you are deciding that, yes, UNCG is where I want to be, and hopefully that's after this presentation, You'll be using UNCGenie to access your financial aid information. You can get to UNCGenie by the little Genie lamp on the home page of our website. When you click on that, you would select the option to enter the secure area. You'll be assigned a university ID and PIN, and you use those numbers to log into the UNCGenie system. And once you're in, you'll be able to view eligibility requirements. So like I mentioned before, if there's documents that we need to complete a verification process, you'll see those requirements there. You'll be able to view and accept your financial aid award. And the important thing to know is that once you're admitted to UNCG, that's when we would send you an email with the instructions. So don't worry if you haven't all the details, because we will send you an email giving you the specific directions on how to go in and accept that financial aid award. Next slide, please. So the Cashiers and Student Accounts Office isn't joining us this evening, but I want to give a little bit of a shout out to them and cover some things to let you know. Here at UNC Greensboro, bills are created after registration is complete. For the fall semester, the bills are scheduled to go out the early part of July, I believe July 6th, with an end of July payment due date. The cashier's office sends you a billing email. It'll list on one side all of the financial aid that you've been offered and accepted, and on the other side, it'll show all the things that you've been charged for. And down at the bottom, the billing statement does the math for you, tells you what your charges are minus your financial aid, and it'll either let you know that you're square, you don't owe us anything and we don't owe you anything. It'll tell you that you do have a balance due, or it'll show you that your financial aid is in excess of your charges to the university, which would mean that there would be a refund to use for potentially off-campus expenses, those transportation or some of those indirect costs. The university does have a payment plan. So when bills go out, they also send out information about the university payment plan and how to set that up. The next slide, please. So in light of all of the things that have been going on over the past year, we understand that families are experiencing special circumstances. So once you file your FAFSA, if there has been a significant change to your financial circumstances, or if you have other questions about those changes, you are certainly welcome to contact the financial aid office. Our phone number is listed there, or send us an email at finaid@uncg.edu. My team is willing to assist. We are on the phones between 9 and 4, Monday through Friday. Our email, you can always send us an email and we will respond to you. Our office hours are 8 to 5. So that 8 to 9 and 4 to 5 hour, we're busy answering emails and calling students back who we may have had to get some additional information to clarify questions. So we're doing that during that time. But certainly if you have questions, when you call in, you're getting a financial aid counselor. So it's almost like visiting us one-on-one in person. We are, again, visiting with students by appointment. So you can also, when you call in, ask if you need to schedule an appointment to do that. Next slide. Well, I think I am done as well. So I am going to turn the presentation over to our faculty speaker, Jeff Holbert.
Thanks, Roberta. Hey, everyone. Good to see you, and excited to have the opportunity to chat with y'all for a while this evening about UNCG and my perspective of it. As you see on the slide, I'm a faculty member at UNCG, but I come at this from a bit of a different perspective than maybe the average person does. If we were together, I would ask y'all as a group some questions, and obviously on YouTube, don't need to raise your hands, but one of the things I would ask you is how many of you began college at some point in time as sort of a traditional 18-year-old student, and many of you would acknowledge that that was you, and I would indicate that, yep, I was one of those as well. I began college like most folks do who go to college as a typical 18-year-old. And my second question would ask, so how many of you at some point transferred from one school to, in this case, UNCG, and a number of hands would go up, and so would mine, because I started my academic career at another institution in North Carolina, and after being there for 3 semesters, I transferred to UNC Greensboro. And then my third question would be, so how many of you are coming back to college after having dropped out and been out for a period of time, and now you're coming back? And again, a number of you would raise your hands, and so would I. because that was my experience as well. I dropped out of school after 2.5 years of college. I was about 20 years old. I dropped out for a semester, which lasted 10 years. And when I came back, I was 30 years old, single dad, very different life experiences, but I was ready to come back to school. I came back to UNCG as an adult student, and it was a really intriguing experience. We're talking back in the early 1980s when I came back to school. I signed up for my first 5 classes. In 4 of those classes, I was the oldest student in the room. In one of the classes, I was older than the teacher. That was an intriguing experience. And in one class, there was one gentleman who now, my guess is he probably looked a lot like I do today. He was retired and he was just taking some classes for the heck of it. And I was so ecstatic to have at least one class where there was somebody in there older than me. And then he dropped the class. So, you know, these things happen. But it was interesting to me when I came back to school, just how interested I was in UNCG, and equally how interested UNCG was in me and in trying to help me be successful. And I learned very quickly that nobody in the room, including my fellow students and the faculty members, the only person in the room who cared how old I was me. Nobody else seemed to be bothered or care in any way, shape, or form. If I was there, as most of my colleagues were, trying to get an education, trying to figure out what we were going to do with the rest of our lives, then we were all sort of on the same plane. I just had some different experiences than they had had. But even if they were in the 18 to 22-year-old range, they had had experiences I had never had before. So it was more about how can we make this thing work? And what's interesting to me over the many years I've been here, because realistically, I never left school. I finished my BA degree. I got my master's here. I had a short-term administrative position. And then back in 1988, I taught my first American government class here at UNC Greensboro. And this is year 34 of teaching at UNCG. And I've loved every minute of it. And part of it has to do with the culture that we have here at UNCG. You've heard probably from lots of other folks. I think Andre mentioned it early on about the diversity of our campus. And that is not something to be cast away or thought that every school is like ours. If we're not the most, we are certainly one of the 2 or so most diverse campuses. And when I use the word diversity, I don't mean just simply in terms of race, although that certainly is a measure, but in terms of religion, in terms of culture, in terms of values, beliefs, whatever it may happen to be. This is an incredibly diverse campus, which allows for a really interesting atmosphere, a lot of shared conversations, a lot of opportunities for people to express who they are and to inform others, for them to learn about other people. For us as faculty members, it makes my experience so much richer to have a group of students who are very different from each other. And again, lots of different dimensions. But again, all of us here trying to do the same thing, which is try to figure out this education thing. And as was mentioned earlier when Andre talked about the Career and Professional Development Center, what do you want to do when you get out of here? You know, some of you are coming in and you don't plan to be here longer than maybe a couple of years. You've got your associates or whatever. Some of you might be here a little bit longer. But the reality is, whenever you get ready to walk that stage at graduation, what is it that you want to have accomplished and where do you want it to take you next? And I think one of the most fun things about teaching here at UNCG is that amongst my faculty and colleagues here, so many of them want to do the same thing that I want to do. We want to try to help our students figure out what it is that you really want to do in life. See, one of the great blessings of my life is that for as long as I've been teaching at UNCG, and I mean this quite sincerely, I don't feel like I've ever worked a day. I've never gotten out of bed now in my 34th year of teaching here. I've never gotten out of bed and said, oh, I got to go to work today. That's just not something I deal with. And it's because I found what I was supposed to do. I found what I was gifted to do, what I was meant to do. And my life is very different because I work, and you know, most people work more than anything else. I get to do what I love to do. And it's so much fun. And what I want to help my students do, and what I hope is our goal for all UNCG students, is to help you find what it is that you're supposed to do. What are you going to be able to do for pretty much the rest of your life that gives you purpose, that gives you meaning, that makes you feel as though you've accomplished something, that when you get up in the morning, you're looking forward to going where you're going to spend the rest of the day, not dreading every moment of it. I'm sure all of you know some folks who have that I don't want to get out of bed motion. They don't like their jobs. They don't like where they are. And maybe for any number of reasons, they can't change. That's something I would not wish literally on my worst enemy. I want all of you to have the opportunity to find here what it is you're supposed to do. And for us to give you that assistance and trying to get to that place so that when you graduate, you know exactly where you're going next, a job, graduate school, whatever, and you know that's where you're supposed to go and that's what you're supposed to do. So I'm hopeful that while you are here at UNCG, if you should decide to come here, that you'll give us that opportunity, that you'll open up and let us know what you're thinking about, what your goals and aspirations are, and give us a chance to try to help you get there. I can tell you, having been here for now more than 3 decades, there's just a massive number of faculty, staff members. I think from the folks you've heard tonight before me, I think you've gotten a sense there are folks here who really want to help you be successful. And I hope you'll give us that opportunity to give you that assistance. So thanks for tuning in tonight and seeing this presentation. I'm going to turn it back over to Angie, I think takes back over, and appreciate again y'all spending your time with us this evening.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I, as always, appreciate your participation here. It is my favorite part of the program. So just real quick, we have a lot of folks who are not able to access the survey. There was a little glitch with it. It's fixed. So if you refresh your page that you're currently on, which is where you're viewing this program, and click on the link again, you should be able to access the survey in order to get that application fee waiver. So don't panic. The waiver will be available for the remainder of the program. And so while this portion may be ending in the next few minutes, we do have the special interest sessions that are available. Those will be running from 6:30 until 7:30. So you have a little bit of time to complete those surveys, but don't dilly-dally on it. Make sure you fill it out right now while you're thinking about it, to make sure that you get your application fee waived, because after this program, the survey goes away and we won't reopen it until our next transfer program, which will be in May. So at this point, I'm going to look through the texts. We've had several questions come in, some great questions. Right now, mostly about the survey. We did have a question about work study, Roberta, so I wanted to ask you this. I provided the student with a link for the website for financial aid, where it talks a little bit about work study and it has the video. But I didn't know if you knew off the top of your head. They were asking if we have remote work study options. I know we have lots of possibilities, but I wasn't sure if you knew off the top of your head if that was a thing.
There were a few departments that had work study positions where there were things that students could do remotely, mostly revolving around like the writing and speaking center and tutors. Those students were able to work remotely during the pandemic. We are gearing up. Our chancellor has put out some advertising about coming back full speed ahead in the fall. So we're looking forward to more of our work study positions being available on campus, as opposed to having to need to do remote work. But there are some of the positions that over the past year have been done remotely, mostly involving tutoring and study skill assistance.
Awesome, thank you for that. We also have a lot of questions about the fees and the difference between online students versus in-person students, as well as the fees that are assessed. Some folks are questioning, is that meal plan, is that housing? So I don't know if someone wants to jump in about that.
So I guess I can jump in and answer, I think some of the questions. When we post in the cost of attendance, we do include an allowance for housing and meals for everyone. So whether you're living in a dorm on campus, and we use an average of the housing cost, and we use the most expensive meal plan as part of our cost of attendance, we include that. If you're living in an apartment off campus, we would include an allowance for housing for you as well. It's not going to be a direct charge because you're going to pay your rent somewhere else, but we certainly include that as part of your cost of attendance because some students will use their financial aid to pay for those off-campus expenses. We will also include housing and meals as an expense, even if you're living at home with your parents, because we know that mom and dad are paying to put a roof over your head and they're paying to feed you. I have a teenage daughter, and so I know what feeding a teenager is like. And so we include those expenses as part of your cost of attendance as well. And you can choose to accept financial aid to cover those expenses or not. That's a family decision, but we do include that as an allowable expense for financial aid to pay. When you look at tuition and fees, and I won't go into the whole breakdown, you can look on Spartan Central, which is our new one-stop website. And on that website, under the Cashiers and Student Accounts office, there is a breakdown of the fees and exactly what each fee pays for when you're here on campus. So you'll see a little bit of the tuition and fee component goes to things like student government, maintaining the facilities on campus, maintaining our computer infrastructure, the wireless network, and things like that. So you can see that breakdown on the website.
Awesome. Matt, I will direct this question to you. We've had some folks ask about credits that will transfer. Some folks are confused, thinking that it's a C+ or better. And so will you give us a general breakdown again of what credits typically transfer?
Absolutely. So if I ever said C+ in my presentation, I do apologize. It is going to be a C or better. So yeah, C or better, everything will transfer. If it's from a 4-year institution, if it is from a 2-year institution, it is still the exact same policy. It's just going to be that not every course from a community college is going to transfer. Same grade, same everything, C or better, it'll transfer in.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Let's see. We're looking through all of the questions. I think we've answered most of them. We do have a question. Someone asked, how does the allowable expenses and tuition work when you are a full-time online student?
So for online students, we include in your cost of attendance not only your tuition and fee costs, but there is also an allowance for housing and meals, because as a college student, we know that you might be going full-time, and so you need an assistance to help cover those expenses. And so that will be part of your cost of attendance as well. Again, if you're online, you're not on campus, so we wouldn't be charging you for the housing because you're not living in our dorms or eating in the cafeteria, but certainly we know that you may need to use financial aid to help cover those expenses. So there is a cost of attendance for online students as well. And when we generate your financial aid award, it's specific to how you're admitted. So we look to see if you're admitted to an online degree program, and we will customize your financial aid award based on that status.
Awesome. All right, so we have addressed most of the questions. So at this time, there are some folks in this meeting. Andre is one that we will be in the other special interest session. So we're going to be working on getting those up and running. So at this point, I'm going to say to everyone on the panel, thank you so much for your time. As always, it is a pleasure. I appreciate your help with this. For everyone who is in attendance this evening, I appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, You have our contact information for the office. The text line will be open for another hour, so feel free to text any questions you might have. And then, of course, you can always contact our office, set up appointments through our website with any of our counselors, myself, Andre, Melissa. But I will say at this point, thank you. Have a good evening, and give us about 5 days or so to get the waivers uploaded into your existing applications. And then before you start calling in, but you can always check the status by looking in your Spartan Link account. But you should get a confirmation once you submit the survey. And if you don't, or if you just want to confirm, you can always just email me. My email address is akmoore@uncg.edu. And my information is on the website as well. But thank you and have a good evening.